In 1988, two Soviet fighters cut through British skies, not as threats, but as honored guests, greeted with cheers, not fear. These MiG-29s came to dazzle at Farnborough, delivering a jaw-dropping air show that left the world in awe. As pilots carved the air with precision, one question burned in every mind. Had the Soviet Air Force outpaced the West, could Moscow now dictate the future of air combat? This is the story of the MiG-29 Fulcrum, a masterpiece of engineering, yet a tragedy of timing, caught in the chaos of a crumbling empire and flawed strategy. I'm a military analyst with 30 years dissecting air power, from Vietnam's dogfights to today's hypersonic dreams. To me, the MiG-29 isn't just a jet. It's a mirror of Soviet ambition and irony, forged in the heat of Cold War lessons. Let's step back to the Vietnam War and the Arab-Israeli conflicts of the 60s and 70s. In Vietnam, the MiG-21 Fishbed stung American F-4 Phantoms, using agility to outwit advanced foes in close-range battles. But in the Middle East, Israeli pilots, flying similar MiGs, crushed Soviet-backed Arab forces, revealing gaps in training, tactics, and tech. Stung. The Soviets fought back with innovation. They built the 15 21st Center at Mary Air Base, their own Top Gun, honing real-world combat skills, and launched a wave of fourth-generation fighters. But the game flipped. Where America once dreaded the MiG-25 Foxbat's legend, now the Soviets feared the U.S. FX program, birthing the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon jets fusing speed, sensors, and long-range firepower. Moscow's answer was bold. The LPFI, or Lightweight Frontline Fighter Program, paired with a heavier sibling, aimed for synergy. Mikoyan Gurevich, still reeling from Viktor Belenko's 1976 defection that bared the MiG-25's weaknesses to the West, ditched old designs. No more speed-first interceptors. This jet had to be versatile. Soviet demands were fierce speeds topping Mach 2, unmatched agility for dogfights learned from Vietnam and Israel's Bekaa Valley victories, and beyond visual range punch to rival U.S. AIM-7 Sparrows and their radars. Unlike the F-15's focus on raw power and radar dominance, the MiG-29 chased a lighter, nimbler role, echoing the F-16's multi-role spirit but with Soviet steel. The MiG-29's heart, twin Klimov RD-33 engines, each pumping 8,300 kilograms of thrust, giving a thrust-to-weight ratio over 1:1, better than early F-16s, letting it climb vertically to humble rivals. MiG chose two engines for a light fighter, boosting redundancy and power. Its aerodynamics were stunning. Leading-edge root extensions stretched to the canopy, creating lift-enhancing vortices, like canards without the drag, outmaneuvering the F-A-18 Hornet in raw agility. A dorsal hump stored fuel and electronics, while canted stabilizers and split-engine nacelles boosted control, survivability, and ease of repair vital for rough frontline bases. In my view, this echoed Western moves to fly-by-wire, but the MiG-29's analog controls, a cost-cutting choice, capped its early potential. Beyond aerodynamics, its systems were a Soviet leap. The OLS-29 infrared search and track system, mounted by the canopy, spotted heat signatures 35 kilometers out, perfect for silent attacks. Unlike the F-15's radar-heavy approach, the Shell 3UM helmet-mounted sight let pilots lock missiles by looking, paired with R-73 Archer missiles, thrust vectoring for 60-degree off-axis shots. This changed dogfight's picture, outturning an F-16 while firing backward. The U.S. lagged here until the AIM-9X in the 2000s. Composites cut the airframe's weight by 15%. and it carried air-to-air and ground attack weapons, hinting at multi-role futures. But doctrine clashed with design, a Soviet flaw I've seen too often. The MiG-29 was built as a frontline interceptor, backing Su-27 flankers on deep missions, cleaning up stragglers, and supporting Su-25 ground attacks. This led to trade-offs. The N-019 Rubin radar, based on old Sapphire 23 tech, used a Cassegrain antenna, not a planar array, capping BVR range at 70 kilometers and vulnerable to jamming far behind the F-15's APG-63, which saw over 200 kilometers. The R-27 Alamo missiles, meant for BVR, failed miserably, with hit rates under 10% in tests, like early U.S. Sparrows in Vietnam. The MiG-29 ruled close fights, but stumbled in the West's radar-driven battles. Espionage made it worse. Belenko's betrayal exposed the MiG-25. Then Phasotron's Adolf Tolkachev leaked MiG-29 radar and missile secrets to the CIA, executed in 1986. The Soviets patched with the MiG-29S, adding jamming gear, a 100-kilometer range boost, and nuclear weapons. But the MiG-29M and carrier-based MiG-29K died amid Chernobyl's fallout and economic ruin. Farnborough, 1988 was a revelation. MiG-29s twisted through Cobra maneuvers and tail slides, making F-16s look stiff. As an analyst, I felt the shock. IRST and helmet sights suggested Soviet parity, but cracks hid beneath no advanced radar, weak missiles, and a reliance on ground control. Combat exposed the truth. In Desert Storm 1991, Iraqi MiG-29s, stuck with old R-60 missiles, downed one tornado but lost every duel to F-15s, outclassed by AWACS and AIM-120 AMRAAMs. Yugoslavia 1999 was worse. NATO F-15s and F-16s obliterated MiGs, their radars jammed. R-27s useless. In the Eritrea-Ethiopia War, 1998 to 2000, Eritrean MiG-29s faced Ethiopian Su-27s with Russian pilots. 5 MiGs fell, no Su-27s lost, with only one of over 30 R-27 shots hitting a missile disaster. In Ukraine's fight today, MiG-29 Mu-2s use NATO AGM-88 HARMs to hit Russian defenses and drones in Kherson. But pilots curse old avionics clashing with Western weapons. Russian R-37M hypersonics outrange them, and no mid-range missiles make air-to-air desperate. Against Ukraine's new F-16s, the MiG-29's analog core lags in NATO integration, showing its age in networked wars. Yet the Fulcrum lives on. India revived it in the 2000s, funding MiG-29Ks for carriers like INS Vikramaditya, navalized with hooks and folding wings, rivaling FA-18s but dogged by engine issues. The MiG-35, a 4++ upgrade, brings fly-by-wire, JUC-AE ESA radar with 150-kilometer range, targeting pods, and RVV-AE missiles, nearly a new jet, sold to Egypt and Algeria, with agility to test Eurofighter Typhoons up close. In my view, the MiG-29 is Soviet genius, agile, innovative, deadly in its niche, but betrayed by strategy, economy, and timing. It outfights many Western jets in dogfights, but fades in the sensor-driven wars of F-35s and J-20s. Its legacy, a tale of lost potential, still soaring in over 25 nations. If the MiG-35 story grabs you, drop a comment, I'll dig deeper. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and share to keep these insights flying. Your support fuels the mission.